You know, I would have to say that I would count it more of knowing what you want to do as a little girl growing up in Memphis, Tennessee, and that was I always wanted to teach. And when I moved to St. Louis, I sought out that opportunity to teach, and it started in Pattonville School District as a first grade and a fourth grade teacher. Trying to pursue a higher degree, I continued to pursue education as that degree, and it led me to applying for an assistant principal position here in Ferguson-Florissant at Walnut Grove. And the interview question that I remember the most is, why would you want to leave Pattonville School District and come to Ferguson-Florissant School District? And my response was, what's going on in Pattonville can happen in Ferguson-Florissant. And I really believe that today what happens in the districts that are the Ladus or the Claytons, you know, it can happen right here, and it is happening, and it is exceeding what's going on in other districts. So I'm very happy to be a family member of Ferguson-Florissant School District. So from being an assistant principal in 1999, principal at Lee Hamilton for 6 years, and then coming over to the administration building in federal programs, assistant superintendent of elementary education, and chief learning officer. I count that all joy to be able to work with students on a larger capacity, and I felt that in the classroom. If I can make a difference for my students in first grade and fourth grade, I can make a difference for students in a school and in a district. I am the third child of 8 kids, so I grew up in a household of 10 with my parents, and I thank God that my parents were there for me. My drive was just wanting to do more. My siblings were my students, so I had them, I was teaching them, I had a classroom. So I tried to teach even as a young girl. But when you speak of adversity, it was not being able to know where the money was going to come from, because my father was the only worker in the home. We were on free and reduced lunch. Well, with 8 kids, you know, it was a struggle. Just wanting something different and better. My parents had an 8th grade education, or have an 8th grade education, both of them are living. And I wanted to make sure that I got my education because I knew that that was a dream of theirs and that they couldn't do because they had to work in cotton fields and, you know, couldn't go to school because of circumstances in their home. And my mom is from a family of 14, and my dad is from a family of 8, so large families, and they had to work. So for me to know that hard life that my parents came through, and us having to do the same thing, pretty much being on free and reduced lunch and not knowing if we would have money for field trips or different things going on in our school, no one ever knew it because my parents made sure that we were dressed well, fed, and had all the supplies we needed. So that was the inside. No one knows what's going on unless you tell them, because on the outside, when you walk out the door, you have to be ready to go. You have to be ready to make sure that you have what it needs to take you to the next level. So when we walked out of the door, my sisters and brothers, our job was to get all that we could get so that we could make things better for our children. And so that was my, I would say, adversity.